Well, here we are in the town of Neuchâtel, on the lake of Neuchâtel, which is a charming town in the French region of Switzerland. And it's full of lovely fountains. You've seen these before on my videos. This one here from 1755. Outside of this church, lovely church. And it's not a very big town in the old centre, though charming, full of little lanes which go somewhere or nowhere. And you know, for the ladies, all kinds of nice shops with clothes and shoes and handbags. And I hope some antique shops, and maybe I'll find a tobacconist, who knows. So we noticed actually some of the walls have been nicely painted, and I just turned the corner here and there's another fountain. You know, when is enough fountains, I guess. And this one is 1605, so it's actually even older than the other one. Can't believe it. But anyway, what I was going to show you is these beautiful paintings on the wall of birds and grapes, which I think is very charming, and a swallow there. Beautiful. And over here, what caught my eye is the cat. And if you look closely, he's even put a little shadow behind the cat. I think it's an art of itself, you know, on concrete surfaces, to be able to actually paint such beautiful flowers and roses. So that's another attraction of Neuchâtel. Even palm trees we have. You know, some streets are shabbier than others, and you know, there's the usual hairdresser shops and, you know, regular stuff. Talking of which, there's another coiffeur here. I mean, they've got more, you know, hair salons than I've ever seen in any town in the world. It's like, I was expecting cafes every 10 metres, but here it's like hair salons, you know. And it's quite an ethnic population. So there's the old shisha bar, and they'll shave your head and trim your beard for you if you want. But there are some interesting artisan shops, you know, which do their own thing. Like this one, you see all the work. So she's making all of these things. Reminds me of Steph, you know. Makes all of these lovely things herself, you know. And in the corner, it's a coiffeur. Another coiffeur. I can't believe it. There you go. Fantastic. Well, can you believe this is another fountain? Lovely, with this kind of griffin creature at the top. 1664, with the black eagle crest which you find on the flag for Neuchâtel as well. Marvellous. So here is another fountain, just 2 minutes away from the last one, of this magnificent Swiss soldier. This is 1581. Beautiful clock tower right behind it. It's just chimed. And on this one there's no information plaque, so I will have to look up what happened in 1581 or around that time. There must have been a battle here. I find fountains quite relaxing with this lovely little stream of water, and you know, lovely. Well, would you believe, Stone the Crows, here is another fountain, and my wife said this one is historic because it's one of the oldest ones for the horses and some of the cattle to have a drink, and it must be because it's 1634. This lovely emblem here, which I think is for the county here, which is Kanton Neuchâtel. So in fact it's its own canton, I should have known that. And that must be, that is in fact on the flag of the county. And you see it at the top of this mast, which is the Black Eagle, isn't it? Yeah. And on the plaque there. And here in Yverdon-les-Bains, also on Lake Neuchâtel, is the smallest fountain I found in Switzerland. I think it says, yeah, you can drink water, so you could drink that water. Just admiring the facade of this lovely building, 1570. I mean, that is, what is that? That's 450 years old, roughly. Beautiful engraving. There's a little plaque which might have a smidgen of information. It's a restaurant now. 1569 under the reign of Leonor of Orleans. So it was under, when the French basically were ruling here. And it was bought by the town back to their ownership in 1749. But the charm of this little town, old centre, is just one little lane after another, with cafes every 10 metres. Apparently tomorrow there'll be a market here. I'm looking forward to that. A street artist here, and with his crystal ball. Harder to do than it looks. So we decided to do a tour of the castle in Neuchâtel, the Chateau as they call it, and this is the inner court of it. It's going to be a tour in German and French, so probably won't record that. But you see 1600 here, so it's really a very old historic building. Rather like the one in town that you saw, with the same sandstone used. And of course it's been renovated a number of times in between to restore it to this condition, and they're still renovating it. So they said it's a shorter tour because they've got work going on. It's actually, the weather is now blue sky. Yesterday was very overcast, but today we're really lucky, so we'll have some nice scenes of the Alps from our balcony, I hope. So just a little summary, that's one of the last towers of the outer part of the fortress. This was first built about 1000 AD, you know, a good 1000 years ago. That's one of the last towers. There was one over here. See that lovely view of the lake? That's long gone. And Rudolph of Burgundy, you hear that name a lot in Switzerland. He was basically the King of France, and or the Burgundy region of France, and he was ruling here as well. And he actually built this castle as a present to his new bride. And the name Neuchâtel comes from Neuchâtel, which is like the 9th fortress that was built in Burgundy. So if you look very carefully from this lovely high vantage point of where the chateau is, you can just see images on the grey shadows of the horizontal of the Alps. It's a little bit cloudy on the horizon, but you can see them over the lake of Neuchâtel. There's another example of those lovely coloured tiles they use for churches and castles like this one. Well, apparently there was a huge fire in 1400 and everything was destroyed, and what we see now was after 1500 rebuilt piece for piece. This beautiful church, for example, here. Do you notice the beautiful tiling on that roof? You see that in Strasbourg and other French regions, and obviously that influence came here as well. Really very attractive tiling, and this lovely sandstone which they reconstructed everything after that terrible fire. And you see they're constantly fixing things up. Never own an old building like this. They're working on it forever. This building is actually from 1875. It's not so old. Beautiful gargoyles there, you see. And it was actually old stables where apparently they had horses and bears, you know. And for a time it was under Prussian rule here, and in 1815 a lot of Swiss cantons, including Valais, where my wife is from, but also Neuchâtel, said, well, we'll throw in the towel and join the Confederation of Swiss States, become part of Switzerland. But they retained a little bit this sort of Prussian influence in some of their architecture and some of the, if you like, structures of the canton in the way they lived and the way the laws were, which is what the advantage of a federation is, that you let each state do it its own way. Here you see a huge fireplace in the castle, and these are some of the meeting rooms for the Parliament of the Canton of Neuchâtel. They are very busy with lots of departments that actually work in the castle, and there's even a Parliament meeting auditorium. Weird thing is, there was this "don't smoke here" ashtray. So at last a tobacconist, because I forgot my pipe cleaners. I'm out of practice going on holiday, getting everything. And here we are. There is actually a tobacconist in Neuchâtel, and they have pipes. Can you believe? Oh look, BSOP cognac. Well, we're going to be having dinner here tomorrow evening, and this is Hotel du Pérou, which is also a a very nice fine dining restaurant, and look at these magnificent grounds that they have here. Sylvia next to that Sphinx, and this lovely typical sort of Versailles style garden, which is just beautiful. These beautiful trimmed hedges, and of course the centerpiece of this is a fountain. That lovely statue from about the 1920s, probably. Art Nouveau style. Could have been made later than that. There's this gorgeous flowers, all warm and sunny colours. And then of course this magnificent building, which is very much a Renaissance 1700s, mid-late 1700s I think. Absolutely fantastic. And many other nice little chateaux around this part of town and higher up on the slopes overlooking the lakes. And here you see the amuse-bouche, which they give you just to give you a taster, and then that was the first course. Absolutely exquisite, beautiful presentation. Each course came with a flight of wine. This is one example. And this was this beautiful main dish of pork with a beautiful sauce. And not only that, look at the dessert. Absolutely exquisite. And we finished it off with some lovely cheese. Beautiful. This is a tree, and behind this tree is another gentleman. Also one of the statues from the Belle Epoque, wearing that flat straw hat and a bow tie and a pocket watch. So here we are, just on the promenade, near to the Beau Rivage Hotel, and as well as this lovely view around us, which is quite optimal today, they have these lovely statues. This wonderful lady here, which is probably explained, femme bourgeoise. So it's celebrating the Belle Epoque period and how people dressed back then. Taste for curves and voluptuousness was directly inspired by Art Nouveau. Oh, what a beautiful time. You know, the time of corsets and hats and long dresses and voluptuous curves. Fantastic. There's a little sort of stony beach here. Lovely. So it's just leaving on a journey. We're having our breakfast and looking out this spectacular panorama window. And this is probably off to Yverdon, which is the other end of the lake.